Right, and that part to me translates to larger world as well.
Mm-hmm.
That when you meet someone who's different from yourself, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you.
Or them.
Or them. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It means you're the one that, for whatever reason, the divine orchestrated to meet this person.
At this moment.
They have a need. They've expressed it to you. There's no one else who can jump in and do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the opportunity to respond to this person, to help them find the help they need, to give them the best answer you can, to tell them where to look, to say, I don't know, but here, take my hand and we'll go looking together.
Exactly.
And I will be your companion until we find your answer. It may not be my answer.
Right, and it doesn't have to be.
And it doesn't have to be, but I will
It
take
does
your
need to
hand
be
and we
your
will look
answer.
until we find your answer.
Right. And that can make all the difference between society doesn't care, my parents didn't care, the church I was raised in didn't care,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, I think I can do this now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can make sense out of the senseless because I now have my own rule book
Mm-hmm.
that meshes with society's rule book,
Mm-hmm.
but isn't necessarily the one they tried to push on me when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Which clearly wasn't effective, or they wouldn't.
Or they wouldn't be in prison if they were following any existent religious path the way it is presented. They wouldn't be in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Because ethical systems universally have the same core.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do unto others, and it harm none.
Mm-hmm.
These issues are human issues.
Which, for those not familiar with pagan settings, and it harm none may not mean anything. 15 seconds on basic core paganism. What you put out is what comes back to you.
That's right. And it harm none, do what thou wilt. You have to know your own higher will and your connection with the divine to make your choices, and they can't harm you or anyone else or the earth or whatever. Harm, intent.
Mm-hmm.
And what you send out returns to you threefold.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you do is effectless,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing you do doesn't also affect you.
Well, and the first time I heard it, I also really liked the pagan greeting. Merry meet, merry part, blessed be.
Blessed be.
You know, that there be some joy in acknowledging a person you've just met, that you part on good terms, and that whatever different directions you each go, that you each find blessing.
Absolutely.
You know, and there's no judgment in that.
Nope.
Which, wonderfully perhaps, Christianity advocates against judgment anyway, but...
They do, in fact. It's part of their core teachings. It's just not always followed.
Not always part of the practice.
Right.
But that's not at all confined to Christianity. But
absolutely not.
But it comes down, you know, as we're coming toward the end of our show here, why are ministers essential to society? And I'm sure there would be people who would argue they're not. I try to envision a healthy society without ministers, and I have a very difficult time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a good imagination. I mean, I have a lot of creativity to offer, is perhaps obvious. I think there need to be people whose full-time job is understanding the emotional, psychological, and spiritual dynamics of what goes on inside of us.
Well, and not telling you what you must believe,
Mm-hmm.
but encouraging you to believe and to question why. I mean, it even says, when I was a child, I believed as a child. I thought as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
How do you believe? Why do you believe? What do you believe? You have to
and it's all
re-examine
relative.
it. Absolutely.
You know, where you were in the past was a child. In comparison to that, you're now an adult. In comparison to where you're going to be 10 years from now, you're once again a child.
Mm-hmm.
And where you will be 10 years from now, comparatively, will be as if growing into adulthood.
One of the early questions any child asks is why.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose the why. Because asking why helps you to understand how and where and who.
And if you can't come up with the answer today, it's okay. You've got the rest of your life to work on it.
Exactly. And it hopefully brings you to new questions that
Mhm.
take you to higher and deeper places.
Well, and my personal prayer is that there will be spiritual professionals along the way who might have some experience or insight or a broad perspective on things to offer.